Hello humans, Cubic here, back again with another EDM Twitter recap. See, the past week, the bass music scene has had a lot of drama online. A lot of various dramas, some that connect to each other, some that are disconnected. I felt like this tweet right here perfectly sums it up. All this bass music drama, this might be a hot take, but someone's gotta say it. Grail Sounds ghost produced sample pack deep dub industry plant corporate EDM taking up space on the rail. Sync button pre-recorded set, boiler style 360 set. And I think with that we can end the video right here because that gives us all the information we need to know. If none of that made any sense at all, then boy, you are in for a treat. In for a dramatic little journey, some of which I find very intriguing, very interesting, some of which I also find extremely stupid and dumb and cringe. But I'm here today to guide you along this journey, inform you on what's been going on EDM Twitter, as well as Reddit, as you'll come to see. And most importantly, by the end of this video, you're gonna find out who is Grail Sounds. And if you've never heard that name before, then you're gonna learn why the fuck do I need to know who Grail Sounds is, who the fuck are they, and who are they really? I don't know. Basically, what I'm saying is stay tuned because I'm going to be taking you along a journey through EDM Twitter, through the online EDM scene, and a journey into some deeper parts of dubstep culture involving dubstep politics, gatekeeping, potential ghost production, secret aliases, all sorts of interesting stuff. So yeah, make sure you subscribe for more quality intellectual content such as my EDM drama coverage, and make sure you like the video so the video spreads and more people get informed about the topics I'm about to cover. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what we're here to talk about today, which isn't the not low drama. Those of you who might be here thinking I'm about to make a whole video about not low using sample pack demo tracks. I feel like everything's been said that could be said about that. But this drama that I will be covering does actually involve Deadbeats yet again. And this drama that I'm going to be covering was a bit overshadowed by the not low drama. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the not low drama, that's a whole rabbit hole in itself. You can feel free to go look it up on Twitter. There's tons all over Twitter and Reddit, tons of info about it. But I think everything that could be said about that has been said. I don't see the point in like stirring that pot. Not that I'm here today to stir this pot either. It's just this drama was overshadowed by the not low drama. It surrounds an artist called Grail Sounds, and it all started with this video. We're going back to the roots.
It's all about the low end. 140 only, you get me? We don't care about the attention. We only care about the culture. From the underground to the underground. Whatever you want to call it. This is fucking ours.
It's fucking ours. So yeah, very interesting, mysterious little video that Deadbeats teased on February 24th. Yeah, this drama spans over the course of like 3 weeks. And I'm going to be breaking it all down because, like I said, it got overshadowed by the not low drama. And there's a lot of different moving parts to this drama. A lot of different things happen in different areas of the internet. And so I feel like anyone who came across one section of this was either completely confused or completely misinformed. So yeah, I'm going to break this all down, starting from the beginning, which was that little teaser. And I think for the most part, you know, there wasn't much to know about the teaser. Not a lot of like response. People just kind of curious, like, who is this? What's happening? It's a vibe. I thought it's a slightly bit cringy of a teaser. Like, this is for the culture. This is our sound from London. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. And you'll see how this all starts to play into each other, the way that this was originally announced and branded. So we're going to keep diving into it. So we got Deadbeats introducing Grail Sounds. First plate coming Wednesday. And there we get an image of Grail Sounds in all of his glory. An anonymous DJ in a mask. You can kind of see his eyebrow indents, and that's about it. So we'll keep moving on. Okay, ignore this. This is Saruda. Saruda's a great artist. Cool, Saruda, blah, blah, blah. All right, next enters this article. New anonymous project, Grail Sounds, debuts on Deadbeats, honoring the holy grails of dubstep. Little play on words there with the Grail Sounds and the holy grails. Kind of stupid in my opinion. But whatever. I'm not here to critique headlines. Few artists still make the same kind of dubstep that was coming out around 2010, 2014. Whether that's bro step or just old dubstep. And that's okay. Styles and tastes change, trends evolve. However, there's a fair amount of fans who don't vibe with the current iteration and still yearn for the sounds of yore. What the fuck does yore mean? Why are we talking like this is like, I don't know, a book from medieval times or some shit? Whatever. I'm assuming this is some like, I don't even know. They're just trying to be artsy with their article, which is cool, whatever. Point is, I want you to remember the way this artist is being positioned currently in this article, because this becomes a key factor in the drama and outrage surrounding this, as you'll come to see in just a few minutes here. Deadbeats, for all intents and purposes, appears to be leading the charge of embracing and reviving that older sound, especially, there's another key, older sound, especially after signing the new EP from MLK, The Others, and Subscape. Great EP, by the way. Also check out their album. Today, they host the release of a new anonymous artist, Grail Sounds, whose goal is honoring the holy grails of dubstep, which is where the artist's name was derived, which first off, I actually know that this is a lie, as we will find out later on once we learn the real origins of Grail Sounds. This is a lie. They made this up after the fact. Oh no, wait, actually it might not be a lie. Okay, don't listen to me. Now I'm spreading misinformation. Okay, let's continue this and then get into the juice. When I first started listening to dubstep in the early 2010s, I quickly found Scream, Benga, Rusko, Caspa, Flux Pavilion, Dr. P, Joker. These are all some fucking legends, some OG dubstep legends. I'm surprised they didn't mention some of the other greats like Mala and Koki, but it's fine. And more who were pioneering their own unique take on the genre. Nowadays, it feels like the sound has become largely homogenized. I don't really agree with that. I think you're just not looking in the right places, but that's a whole nother discussion. Grail Sounds doesn't reinvent the wheel, nor do they claim to. The point of this project is to emulate and revive the older sounds. If you appreciate that sort of authenticity and purpose and miss the old days of 140, you need to check out their debut single, Goalie String, out now via Deadbeats. Now this is quite the hype piece, you know? This dude from London coming in anonymous to revive the sounds of yore. What the fuck does that mean? I'm assuming it means the sounds of the old, whatever. But yeah, so this would, I would assume, get a lot of deep dub, old 140 OG heads excited. Who the fuck is this guy? Never heard of him. Sounds cool. Sounds like this. It sounds like it's meant to appeal to me. You know, revive these older sounds. I miss the old days of 140. So let's listen to a little clip of this song, Goalie String. Hailing from London. All right, so that is the debut of Grail Sounds with Goalie String. Now, first off, before we get too deep into this, I want to say there's a lot of people that have, because like spoiler, this was not received well at all. Like that's the whole point of this drama. It all starts with this and how it was received and how it was marketed. And that aside, I don't think it's a bad song. I think if you're someone who likes peekaboo, then you probably would like this song. I think it's like got a catchy melody. It's minimal. Now, does it sound like classic UK sound. If you're a fan of 140 and classic UK sound, this one's for you. I don't think that sounds like classic UK sound. I think it sounds like Peekaboo, which so did this guy. This just sounds like a copycat of Peekaboo Beats Wrecking Ball. Peekaboo then responded, nah, not a copycat. It's the same sample from a Ternion Sound sample pack that I use. I just processed it differently. So that was like my first impression was, oh, it kind of sounds like Peekaboo. This is cool. Never heard of Grail Sounds. I vibe with it. Now, when I thought that, I didn't see how it was marketed, but I still stand by that. I think a lot of people have taken this drama to an extreme of like, I disapprove of how this was marketed, blah, blah, blah. And so from that, they have also decided that the song itself is just trash and shit. And I've seen a lot of that where people's like, it's not even a good song. It's a fucking garbage song. And it's like, I guarantee if Peekaboo put the song out, half of those people would be the same people would be like, oh, this is sick. I love this. So I don't know. I think it's important to be fair about this stuff. But moving on, this song was not received well. You see a lot of people saying, this is ass. I mean, like, come on, guys. This is embarrassing. There's way too much talent out there to be pushing this shit, man. Small penis energy. We got, which classic UK sound is this exactly? Now, I do agree with that. Now, this guy comes in with a bit of knowledge, saying it's like a bunch of these so-called heads forgot about a few years, like 2009 to 2012. Hench was UK based, wasn't it? Now, personally, that's out of my knowledge range. I have a lot of knowledge of the history of this stuff, but I'm not full. I wouldn't consider myself an old dub head. So I don't know. If you know about this, definitely comment, provide some insight. Maybe this is a classic UK sound and half these people are just wrong. This fucking slaps. No idea why everyone's throwing shade. That's kind of how I felt at first. The others say this is fire. MLK says oi. Obviously they're going to support their dude on the same label, but like, they're kind of giving their little stamp of approval. But here we have a perfect example of the discourse I'm talking about. My guess is Peekaboo Beats based on the sound of this clip, but what do I know? And then someone's like, don't disrespect Peekaboo like that. And they get in a whole argument about it's such a terrible song. There's no way Peekaboo would put it out. It's pseudo 140 BS. They just kind of go on and it becomes a bit incendiary. And so I'm seeing all this the whole time. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I just thought it was like a decent song. It just sounds a bit like Peekaboo. And apparently the main lead were made with a Ternion Sound sample pack, which is like part of the criticism was like, oh, classic UK sound. This is just some random artist who used a sample pack from Ternion Sound, made a shitty song, and it's being put out as honoring the holy grail of UK dubstep, blah, 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 blah. And to prove the point of, I guess, how mid of a song it is, that's not my point that I'm saying, but just like in general, like just kind of adding to the context before we get into the nitty gritty of this drama, is this guy says, guys, I gotta come clean. I'm not Grail Sounds, but with 7 minutes and one Ternion Sound sample, I could be.
What's up, y'all? Did you know with 7 minutes and one Ternion Sound sample, you can become Grail Sounds, baby?
1000% a rubber dub.
So yeah, as you can see, pretty simple, simplistic song, easy to make, really just using a Ternion Sound sample. And yeah, this dude did a decent remake of it. I'd say the original is still better than that, but dude only spent 7 minutes on it. So a little promo for Sample Elements Fire by Ternion Sound. But anyways, like farming aside, quality like farming, this drama really starts to pop off once a influencer slash like create. See, this isn't really my scene. I love deep dub, but I'm not fully informed on these people, but basically someone called DUPLOC, which seems to be a sort of tastemaker in the deep dub scene, where they run a website, a YouTube channel. It seems like it's like a label as well as just like a deep dub tastemaker slash like blog. I don't know. Basically, they hold a decent amount of weight and respect in the deep dub scene, and they post this. deep dubstep ghost producer. Today, I was quite shocked when I received a promo mailer from quite a big US label who's trying to buy its way, in bold, into the 140/deep dubstep scene by setting up a fake UK artist alias, which obviously, this man says obviously is ghost produced for. I just want you to remember, because see, this is what really kicked things into gear, kicked all the hate and all the outrage. And as you will later find, not everything that's said here is fucking true. This person is a little bit talking out of their ass. And I think it's kind of resulted in a lot of unnecessary hate and harassment. I just want to point that out. I usually don't share my opinion, so I might delete this post soon for political reasons. Dubstep politics, baby. So stupid. I'm just not sure how to feel about this. Ghost producing in mainstream music at least makes some sense commercially. But in this case, I just take it personally somehow, which is also just obviously hypocritical. It's like, ghost producing is ghost producing. Doesn't matter if it's underground or mainstream. I mean, yeah, when it's underground, it's a little bit more like just like culture vulture weird. But that's why it doesn't make sense, because like I said, this person is talking out of their ass a little and they don't really know what they're talking about, as you will come to see. There's a reason it doesn't make sense. But anyways, they took it personally. The track is not even that bad at all, I think. It's just that the producer behind it and the label are going for a quick cash grab. And it is fair. I will give props that, yeah, thank you for not like just pretending like this track is absolutely horseshit because you don't like the situation surrounding it. I just think that's like a little disingenuous. The producer has absolutely no interest in underground dubstep at all. It is not even from the fucking UK. While the press release explains how he grew up poor in London, etc., etc. Trying to sell it like this makes me sick, which to an extent, like I showed you, the way this is marketed is definitely, I think, a big reason why the response has been how it's been, and that'll make more sense as we continue. Just found out by digging really deep into Twitter that the press shot / video footage was actually shot in London by someone else from their roster who lives in London. And that guy tweeted about how the Skrillex album is what dubstep desperately needs, while he proceeds to mention to not rip off dubstep this time. This is wild. So that's just a dig at Skrillex making a bunch of 140 deep dub influence stuff in his album, and now, you know, dubstep heads are getting mad at Skrillex all over again for, I guess, cultural appropriation within dubstep, which I don't know. I'm not going to get in that argument. It's like, I don't know. Just let people make what they want to make. There is an interesting conversation to be had about all this, which, as I mentioned, Ternion Sound earlier in this video, he ends up making an entire thread about this whole drama, which I will get to momentarily, that I think opens up some really interesting conversations surrounding this whole, not even this specific drama, but just the entire scene and around gatekeeping and around stuff like what he's talking about with the album. Anyways, they want to steal everything we worked for again, motherfucker. Slap in the fucking face. So people are obviously reading this and like, Jesus Christ, this fucking ghost producing prick is coming into our scene, and Deadbeats is supporting it and marketing it as this authentic UK London deep dub artist trying to expose and revive the culture, and it's all a fucking cash grab. That would enrage me too. That's fucking annoying and seems problematic. So it's fair in the beginning that all these people read this and were like, damn, DUPLOC is a reliable source, seems to know what he's talking about. This is bullshit. Fuck Grail Sounds. And that's what happens. Name and shame. And so you got people, this is about Deadbeats, isn't it? Yeah, saw that shit on Twitter. Song sucked so bad. It was very evident from the song itself that the guy isn't even UK. And to the last part about growing up poor, that shit is so scummy, man. I don't know why these big labels want to project this kind of thing on their artists. Such a scummy thing to do. So right there, you may have seen that there was a deleted section. It's because DUPLOC leaked the promo email, showing off that it says, a fully anonymous artist project that is focused on bringing the original UK sound to the US authentically. Simultaneously, this is providing the well-known producer an outlet through which to release music that he came up around. Growing up in the poverty-stricken council estates of the UK, the image and aesthetic of this project fully divert attention away from a central figurehead or celebrity to focus fully on music, culture, and the live environment. Provides the scene with a true and unapologetically UK artist help push sound system culture in the States, drawing and merging influences and sounds of deep dub, reggae, grime, and drill to create an experience built both by and for the underground. Then someone's like, fuck me, I hate commercial corporate mainstream America trying to take advantage of the UK's underground talents to make money out of it without giving a single flying fuck about our culture and history once a fucking again. Now, I'm about to blow this shit wide open for you with more info and more context. But I gotta say, regardless of your opinions at the end of this and who you realize Grail Sounds end up being and how much of this outrage is based on facts or misinformation, I think the biggest issue and culprit in this whole situation is the way that Deadbeats marketed this. Because I think this is the biggest reason why it inflamed so many people, is like saying stuff like this. Once you realize what's really going on here, it's like, okay, there's some merit to the way they're marketing this, but then there's also, they're like really dramatizing and hyping things beyond what's really happening, and they're definitely twisting the narrative a tiny bit. And yeah, so just something to keep in mind, something I think is like the biggest part of the issue. Next, DUPLOC. An email is leaked from DUPLOC to Not Low and Grail Sounds and Deadbeats saying, hey guys, hope all is well. Just want to quickly inform you both that I've removed the uploads from your Deadbeats releases in the light of what has happened in the past few days with the label. We really cannot support that behavior in any way. You both are probably aware how much I love your sounds, and definitely happy to feature some more tunes from you both in the future, but I feel I really had to do this. So first off, it's also referencing Not Low and her whole controversy, because Deadbeats had a very dramatic week. But it also kind of seems a bit fake, not gonna lie, in terms of, so DUPLOC is kind of like the deep dub rebellion or dubstep gutter, right, on YouTube. And it's like he's openly shitting on the project and perpetuate a lot of this misinformation that you'll come to find out on Reddit, but then behind closed doors is like, you know how much I love your sounds. I just temporarily do not want to be supportive of your careers. But in the future, feel free, just once this has died down, you know? I don't know, it just seems a bit fake, but whatever. Anyways, DUPLOC takes this down. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm sure you understand the situation. So the response to this is some people being like, wow, this drama's kind of a bad look and stupid given how small the scene is. And then other people are pissed off still, saying Deadbeats created a fake, unknown alias with a fake backstory in some attempt to gain underground cred. It's basically a ghost producer for the label and a marketing scheme. It's about as lame as you can be, you know? So everyone's still very convinced that this is just a ghost producer, an industry plant for the label. Deadbeats is on some weird, trying to like become rich off of 140, hijacking the culture type shit, which was weird to me to see, because I've always considered Zed's Dead, the people who run Deadbeats, to be very cultured and respectful to the history of our music, and they were also a part of it. So I don't know, it's been very interesting seeing how Deadbeats has handled this stuff. Moving on, we have the full tune drop on SoundCloud, and this was after or on the same day as the DUPLOC post. And as you could imagine, on the r/real dubstep community on Reddit, everybody was livid, that to the point where the mod had to lock the whole post because everyone said their piece, and newer comments devolved to insults and name calling. Grail Sounds is a fake person being ghostwritten for. This is a cash grab, all for the money I will not be supporting. Plus, Grail Sounds, what a corny ass name. You talking funeral music, bro? What the fuck? Grail Sounds, what a trash name, should be named Grave Sound. Fake fucking pathetic trash. And then you have someone called Grail Sounds UK with laughter, getting downvoted into oblivion, which we'll come to find out might have been a fake, just someone on Reddit deciding to troll. As we scrolled lower, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm talking about, where it's just kind of stupid and ridiculous. I understand there are real, valid arguments to be made about this drama that Jack of Ternion Sound talks about, which we'll be getting to momentarily, like I said. But people are just like, yeah, the song is garbage. Oh, his name is so stupid. Like, fucking pathetic trash, fake, blah, 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 blah. It's like, Jesus Christ. Tries to make OG UK dubstep while pretending to be from London, uses a Ternion sample pack, which there's nothing wrong with using a sample pack, especially from an artist in the scene that you would want to support. So that's stupid. Anyways, interesting how the only comments praising the track on here are accounts created less than 24 hours ago. See, now we have EDM Twitter, even though it's not on Twitter, going into the conspiracy theories, just like they did with Not Low, that there's a giant conspiracy and Deadbeats is like this mob boss telling everybody to do this and that, and never thought I'd see corporate shilling on this subreddit, yet here it is. They should all be banned, honestly. This is our safe space. No bro step plebs allowed. So now we got some fucking gatekeeping. Anyways, let's see what they're talking about. The comments praising the track. Why does this have so many upvotes? At the time, I guess it had upvotes. Now it doesn't. Good music brings attention by Grail Sounds UK. Bro, who the fuck are you? Say you're from the UK underground, but no one ever heard of you. Now that could be because it's an anonymous artist and it's a new alias, but whatever. This is so fake. Many, including myself, take this as disrespectful. Also take London out of your bio. I swear, it's been exposed that you're not from London and you're being a culture vulture / ultra scumbag. And that exposed was DUPLOC. A whole lot of evidence he had there. Anyways, here are the posts. Here we have the posts praising this that we're talking about. We have Deadbeats saying, thanks for all the support on the release. Much more music to come from the man himself. Keep an eye out for the next vinyl exclusive from him. This is by Deadbeats Records. That was apparently like created 24 hours before that. Got Not Low saying, very fresh tune. Love it. You know it. And then we've got MLK saying, proper UK dubstep, big up, supporting. But then we have another Grail Sounds saying, can't believe people are this heated that they're making fake Reddit accounts to imitate ourselves and others. Insane. So now it's just like, oh, so I guess Zed's Dead fucking commented here. Jesus Christ. So yeah, it basically got confusing because some of these might be real, like MLK, but then I don't know. Then there's like fake trolling, Grail Sounds. This shit just got out of control. This is the final post on here I'll read before we move on to like some more meat of this drama with Ternion Sound. I've been keeping an eye on this post all fucking early hours this morning, and it's all been constant fucking astroturfing bullshit the past several hours. Making money from our history and culture once again? Is it, you fucking capitalist, moralist, culture stealing wankers? The big upvoted spikes despite all the initial downvotes. The exact timing of the post at 4 a.m. UK time and big, very unusual and busy involvement and activity hard this morning. While we were all sleeping within the UK checking the sub, all the US artists commenting below at the same time. Fucking brostep rhythm wankers trying to fuck. I guess I should be saying this in a British accent. Wankers trying to fake being an OG to get profits. And okay, I'm gonna stop. In further exploitation, the second Skrillex makes his album and actually gets praised with both within our underground scene and also in the mainstream. Continue copying Skrillex for his entire fucking career since he started in 2010 because he's the only EDM mainstream artist that made it big to actually take risks and also deeply appreciates our UK underground scene and our entire history with a deep passion, you greedy fucking dickheads. No fucking wonder he got sick and depressed from the brostep scene after a couple years despite all his success and all his mental health issues afterwards. You are not from our scene, you predatory wankers. You will never get our fucking culture. You are not stealing our passion from us once again. Fuck off, you passionless yanks. You are not stealing our dubstep scene away from us once again, pretending to be underground in London. bullshit. Bunch of fucking wankers. Makes me fucking sink. I know your fucking agenda. Fuck off. You'll never get the respect from us, that Whittler, Ternion Sound, and even fucking Skrillex. Fucking insanely passionate and heated posts just shitting on Americans. This dude has a lot of hot takes in this. A lot of crazy assumptions about Skrillex's mental health being from the bro step scene. Not saying that he might be wrong. I mean, I don't know. Just, you can see the level of anger and passion being directed towards Grail Sounds. So let's get deeper, people. If you're still with me at this point, just like this shit gets juicy. Trust me. So I just wanted to use this nice little transitional piece. I have a strong distaste of Deadbeats marketing of that Grail Sounds release. But Jesus, I just know the DUPLOC guy loves to sniff his own farts. UK dubstep drama is the corniest shit I've ever seen. Because I feel like this is, weirdly enough, one of the most nuanced takes on this entire drama that I saw. Which is like, yeah, the marketing is like leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Like, the marketing was not it. But Jesus Christ, the drama is corny as fuck. And people are just being like taking it, escalating it like to an extreme. So as you could probably gather, Grail Sounds and Deadbeats kind of became aware of all of this backlash pretty quickly and decided we probably need to respond to this. So Grail Sounds says about us: we can assure you this project is 100% from the UK. It may not be the regular sound you're used to, but we thought it would be cool to really delve into our upbringings and inspirations. Safe to say, it's gotten completely out of hand, and the response from some of our peers has been pretty disgusting. In a setting where we all grew up huddled around the kitchen table with CDJ 200s, yes, not 2000s, playing Rinse FM rips, they're kind of flexing their knowledge, kind of trying to show that, hey, we are from the UK. We did come up in this scene. We're feeling the furthest thing from a community right now. Also, the reason for the faceless branding plus wearing a Bali isn't meant to be some American-esque gentrified DJ gimmick. It's so at the shows, people can focus on the music that isn't linked to a singular person or anyone for that matter. We are going to keep pushing on, releasing dubs, which some people may like, others may not, but just wanted to speak out about this witch hunt and remove the hate towards the label, plus other artists who have worked with them. And I'm sure this did a little bit to ease the hate in the drama. But as you'll see in a second, either a lot of people missed this tweet or this wasn't enough for them. Subdoctor says, I liked what I heard on the clip. Fuck them all. Stoked to hear more. Got this person saying the gatekeeping is out of hand and the community is a reason why none of the OGs even produce or play dub anymore. Like, for real, look at Scream and Rusko. They moved on from this toxic shit. Which isn't true. They still play dub and they still produce dub. I don't know what this guy's talking. And then we got more people going on about the old. It's like this whole fucking scene is just becoming gatekeeping the gatekeepers who are gatekeeping. Like, it's just like all of this starts to boil into arguments about who made dubstep, who deserves the respect and the attention. And yes, there's valid arguments to be made, but Jesus Christ, this shit gets handled like so dramatically and just incendiarily. I thought you were already a famous house DJ or something making transition to dubstep under a secret identity. If you're actually an anonymous newcomer, it's insane that anyone has a problem with it. And then someone else said he's already an established DJ though, which I still don't think is a problem if it's done right. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to inject too much of my own opinion into this. So a few days later after that, 6 days to be exact, people did not see that tweet or they just ignored it, because then this is where the drama really started popping up. The drama was within just the deep dub scene in the beginning. This is when it starts to leave the deep dub scene and other people start to get sucked in and realize, wait, what's going on here? So, hot take Grail Sounds edition thread. Deadbeats hard launched a major artist rebrand and thinks people won't notice or care. I'm here to tell you all the things that bother me about this project and irritate me to my fucking core. So this tweet is where the narrative evolves from the DUPLOC anger and misinformation to some new speculation and a little more nuance. 1. These boys claim to be from the underground to the underground. It's literally Tasoki and Oliverse, two huge mainstream producers who are talented in their own right. Why return to a subgenre you helped bastardize and exploit for the better part of the past decade and claim to be this flagship of culture and tastemakers when you've done everything you can to stay away from it and ignore it all this time? Fucking whack. 2. It's truly embarrassing how fucking mid that song is. Like I said, these are talented producers, and that is all they could make. 2 minutes of regurgitated samples with minimal effort. Fucking Christ. And a Deadbeats release off the bat. There are producers that grind for years for the kind of opportunity they were handed off the fucking rip just for being cemented already into the industry. And it's embarrassing, disgusting, and disrespectful to every single artist pushing waves in the dubstep scene that this happened. 3. Blaming the UK dubstep scene. This is one where I get all hot and fucking bothered. These fucking cunts don't follow or support a single UK or Euro dubstep artist or label that's on the ground in the trenches pushing the sound and the scene in new directions, making shit happen in the actual underground. It's honestly embarrassing to claim that scene and embody it when they've again ignored it for the past decade, when they had every chance to help put it on with their already huge respective projects. Instead, they wanted to come into a niche scene and eat too. The masks, okay, yeah, this one's just fucking corny. One of my favorite things about the dubstep scene, both here and overseas, is its authenticity. Its draw and focus to the sounds being pushed, the system pushing those sounds, and the artists behind the decks. This whole we wear a mask because we want people to focus on the music bullshit is fucking stupid. And if you knew anything about it, the fucking dubstep scene, you'd know that it's already the fucking vibe, dumbass. People don't go to dubstep shows to see Mr. Pretty Industry Plant Boy. They go to dubstep shows to see a human fucking being playing out their sickest track, showcasing their art, and rinsing the sickest doubles, and vibing with their friends in front of the stacks, throwing their gun fingers up. There's already minimal ego in dubstep. And if anything, the mask just gives the project more ego. I don't completely agree with that, and I don't think there is minimal ego in dubstep. The booking they just got fucking infuriates me, because it is 3 extremely talented artists who have been endlessly pushing this wave and this sound with every ounce of their beings for fucking years. They just showed up and took a spot. So the booking they're talking about was a show with Def that was Hamdi, Zen Selecta, and then Grail Sounds and Yoko. Hamdi, obviously a huge name in Deep Dub 140 at the moment. Before this, Grail Sounds did address the featuring other artists in the scene. So much talking, not enough listening, happening to announce a new mix series, Listen with Subs, featuring incredible artists. So he's kind of doing his part now to show off some other artists in the deep dub scene, which I think is a good move, but this came after that. Foaming at the mouth in anger over this. And as a fan with a passion for this community, all I can hope to do is spread awareness, not even on some whack gatekeeper bullshit. Dubstep is for fucking everyone, and all are always welcome, but an industry plant is not welcome. I can think of literally 50 artists off the top of my head that deserve that slot more than them, and have put in the work, put in the time, grinded from SoundCloud to label releases, that have literally grown a scene, and ironically enough, at least a dozen are in the Grail Sounds mix. Again, gatekeeping is fucking stupid. I truly want this scene to grow, as it has organically over the past 5 years at an alarming rate. But accepting an industry plant with some bullshit rebranding, appropriating a sound and culture they foretook once already, will be where I draw the line. And if you're sitting at home trying to rationalize to yourself what they got this booking over hype for their project, I simply ask, what hype? Since they've launched, they've done nothing but create controversy, drama, and divisions in a scene that was doing just fine, which I don't really think they were the ones that created the controversy and drama and divisions. I think that was the marketing of Deadbeats and DUPLOC. 300 followers on Twitter, 1 song release, 1 mix filled with infinitely better artists within this niche who have pushed this sound for years, and 0 fucking fans. I'm not a sheep. I'm not gonna buy in. Fucking clowns. To close it out, the underground is alive. The fans care, and I'll happily be the sacrificial lamb to call out this plant and die on a cross if need be, so y'all can see what a fucking joke this is. Much love. Fuck gatekeeping. Dubstep forever. Do not water the plants. Now, that was the first time I fully read this. It has a lot of nuance to it. If it really is Tisoki and Oliverse, I would be conflicted because I like their music. I've been a fan of them for a while, and it's basically an artist creating an alias. But the way it was marketed, I don't know if it'd be considered industry plant more than just anonymous alias that wants to be disconnected from those brands, but has the connections that those artists already built for themselves. We're going to continue because we don't know if it's Tisoki and Oliverse. So on March 11th was Grail's world debut in Denver. It was not received well by this Reddit post. UK underground artists having their world debut in the US? That's such a good point. This is actually the only point that needs to be made. If there wasn't anything to suggest that this dude wasn't just a marketing scheme. This is the only eyebrow raiser needed. What is this? Oh, that's just a GIF. But then we get some nuance. It's because dubstep is bigger in the US now, and the UK stopped giving a shit about it and went back to garage and drum and bass. Scream has done what, 4 or 5 dubstep throwback sets in the last 2 years? All of them except one was in North America. I think we get the point, except he gets downvoted to shit. Because people on Reddit, when they're mad, people in general, don't want to hear nuance. They just want to hear someone stroke their ego and say they're right about their outrage. But like, it's true. There's not a lot of dubstep shows in the UK. There's not a lot of love for dubstep in the UK now. America, on the other hand, has a whole industry and scene built around it. Now, should it be like that? Like, yeah, there should be more shit happening in the UK, and there are tons of people in the UK love dubstep, but it's like what the guy said. Anyways, can't stop thinking about how bad that tune was. Going there with my DUPLOC Did Nothing Wrong t-shirt. When Goalie Shit's VIP drops, I'll personally storm up the stage and take a shit on the decks. UK style, mate. Based in UK pill. So we get some insight from someone who actually went to the show. So I actually went to this tonight. Early bird tickets were billed as UK dubstep / grime vibes, right? Instead, what I got was a set that could have been confused with a 2013 Flux Pavilion set. The most played out bro step with build up, drop, repeat. I thought it would be fun to see the train wreck, but it was just so unremarkable. I wished I was listening to music on my couch. Were the crowd into it as well? Sounds like complete misadvertising. The people in the front were going crazy. The rest seemed much less interested. Now, from the sound of it, this sounds bullshit and like a travesty, right? It's just bro step, build up, drop, repeat. Well, good thing, guys, I have footage of the show and we can see it for ourselves. But before we do, let's also hear a review from a DJ who was at the show. So to start off, with all the drama between the labels with the recent Grail Sounds announcement, I really wanted to go into seeing his debut with an open mind, especially with all the rumors of who it was. I was honestly a little excited. Unfortunately, to sum it up in the most basic way, it was unimpressive to say the least, but it wasn't bad. Say what you will about the mask gimmick, he walked on stage with a Nike face mask and gloves, Gore-Tex jacket, and joggers as if the outfit was supposed to resemble the most UK outfit his manager could think of. He may really be true UK head and really rocks that style, but I had to mention that before I dive into his music that was played. So it's like people make fun of him for not saying that he's not a real artist from the UK and it's all bullshit, but then if he wears UK clothes, it's like, well, this is obviously just like his manager trying to be UK, but like, I don't know. It's just like nothing can please these people. And I'm not saying that they're all wrong. It's just interesting to see the like mental gymnastics for some of this stuff. He may really be true UK head and really, oh no, I read that. The set had a complete absence of colorful blends and was a showcase of dubstep's Hot 100, featuring no doubles and an inability to utilize all the tools in front of him, which this is just so insane to read about dubstep and DJing to me, like someone going this in depth, but whatever. It's interesting insight, to say the least. He slowly transitioned between 2 blends and was a showcase of dubstep's Hot 100, or no. He slowly transitioned between 2 of the 4 CDJs. He may as well have just turned the outside ones off. It was elementary mixing. And it may be due to the mask obscuring his vision, but for someone who's supposed to be a UK veteran, I would have expected a deep dive into a pretty rare bag of tunes. That's the most valid point of this whole entire piece. in my opinion. And I will say, having a mask, or in my case, alien glasses, it does really fuck with your ability to DJ in a dark club. But instead, got a planned set. I don't know how you know if the set was planned or not, but fair enough. But instead got a planned set of big room bangers that lacked any risks. The track selection wasn't bad. It was just predictable. Filled to the brim with played out Hamdi, Chef, and MLK tracks, which isn't really hot 100 bro step whatever the fuck that the other guy said, and he said like top dubstep's hot 100. I mean, yeah, Hamdi's popping, but like Chef and MLK aren't like they're all OGs. I mean, yeah, they're still popular to an extent, but not like hot 100. It did not feel underground at its core. It was as if someone from the outside looking in was playing a set, out of touch and disconnected from the true part of this community. For his world debut to not be at a venue that has been paying homage to the underground and culture for years feels dodgy. I have nothing against Deadbeats or any of their artists I actually admire, a great many of them. This was just a review of what I saw, and in all reality, the performance was to a crowd who may not have been exposed to this style of music and may have been the most digestible way to introduce new ears to the sound. Now, let's actually check this out for ourselves. I think, first off, I want to point out, Grail Sounds did respond to that. Thank you for putting the time into, first of all, coming to the show, and secondly, writing this review. I definitely agree with some of the points and think they're completely valid. Mind you, this is a more nuanced, reasonable person's view, aside from the, oh, he didn't do any doubles and it was an elementary mixing. I mean, like, yeah, I appreciate a good DJ, and if you're a UK OG, like, for instance, Caspa, if you watch Caspa live, the dude is a fucking sensei on the decks. Dude's insane. So yeah, there's like some validity to that, but it's just so fucking dorky when you just like throw that in the argument, like, oh, it was elementary mixing. Like, I'm sorry. It just, I can't help but cringe when I read that. But aside from that, compared to this person, who it seems like they were just lying, because watch, this is the set. This is the set these people are talking about. And it doesn't seem that bad, and it doesn't seem that like disconnected from UK deep dub. Like, yeah, it's like some of the more mainstream popular UK dub tracks. So here's the intro of the set.
It's all about the music. From King Tubby's Echo Chamber in Western Kingston to the dubstep phenomena out of London. Who's hot and who's not, we don't care.
This chick is the previous DJ.
Full of fans who are only there for the music, and selectors who not only play it, but create it. Are you listening?
So we get that little intro sound from the first Deadbeats premiere of Grail Sounds teaser. So, as you can hear, that doesn't sound like some bro step bullshit. But here, we'll skip through it a little bit. All right, more dub. Not hearing hot 100 bro step bangers yet. I love this song. This is, I think, Hypho. I might be wrong. All right. Oh. I mean, it's a lot of like the biggest dub eaters, but like, I don't know. It's like you play a set, if you're playing a set of dub to a bunch of people who like might not be as deep in the culture, you play the more appealing songs to a larger crowd. All right, here, let's skip through, see if we can find at least one like Flux Pavilion era. All right, we got the UK and grime, like was said on the bill. Ooh. All right, still sounds all deep dub. We got some like garage, like two-step type shit. I don't know. Okay, there's like way too many people taking videos. It's like ruining the background. But anyways. Yeah, so still haven't heard a lick of Bro Step. All right, this is like the most recognizable song. With MLK, When I Look at You. That's like the one song that'd be in a 2013 flux. All right, so as you can see, doesn't seem that bad. Doesn't seem like some horrible fucking travesty like this fucking liar. I'll say it. This is just like straight up lying on the internet for no fucking reason other than Reddit likes. It's just kind of weird to me that someone would just fucking completely just lie about the set to like shit on the guy. I don't know. It's just like, if you're gonna shit on someone, provide some valid reasons. Like, shit on them for a real, actual, fair reason. Like, this had some legitimate criticism. Grail Sounds even agreed. So just kind of weird. Next, we got a little break before we get into Ternion Sound's thread about this whole thing. We had multiple big artists comment on this. I didn't find all of their tweets because I didn't decide to make this video till like after it all blown over, and Twitter's search sucks now ever since Elon Musk took over, so really hard to find. But Mr. Bill said, well, time to delete all my 140 whips. Someone was like, I'm out of the loop. Someone released a 140 tune on Deadbeats, and a bunch of 140 chin-scratching purists had a whine about it being a gentrified, Americanized version of the original sound, because how dare a style of music get more popular and make any sort of progression? Mr. Bill thinks the tune was fire. I don't know if I fully agree if it's like fire, but it was a good tune. I didn't think it was that bad. I enjoyed it. Anyways, then he proceeds to farm some more likes from this drama by posting this little whip. Is this 140? Do I finish and send to Deadbeats simply for the culture? Okay, this goes off. That snare is fucking silly. Anyways, so yeah, just a little break, get a little music in your ears while we get on to some more stuff. Mr. Bill obviously just thinks this whole thing's kind of stupid. And gatekeeping. Now, speaking of gatekeepiness, we have Jack from Ternion Sound, a very well-respected trio in the deep dub scene. Ternion Sound is. And he has a lot of based opinions about things, about politics, and about music and culture. So he made a giant thread on this, which this is how I was mainly informed about this whole drama. Now, unfortunately, Ternion Sound, after this drama and the Not Low drama, because he kind of got pulled into both. Well, he pulled himself into this one, but he got pulled into the next drama. He decided to take a break from Twitter and deleted his whole account. Luckily, shout out Bruce, my moderator in my Discord server, which you should join, by the way, helped me archive most. He got all the videos, but he didn't get all the tweets. This was an 8-part thread. All right, guys, I said I'd make a thread about this over the weekend dubstep drama once I was well rested. I'm not well rested, but I need to get my thoughts out there. Multi-part video incoming, turning off comments except for mutual follows. This is the first video.
All right, guys, I'm in the hotel. I'm gonna make a video quick, maybe a couple videos. I said I was gonna talk about the 140 drama that happened over the weekend. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I was gonna make a big thread about gatekeeping and why it's good, actually, and all this stuff, but I want to keep it really simple and just say that, you know, when all of this was happening, my first thought was, I don't really care if someone wants to come over and, like, make our kind of music and be involved in it, as long as they accept the values and the goals that we have on this side of things, and kind of abandon maybe the way that they have done things in the past. Not saying anything specific, because I'm trying to be very general here. I just mean, like, personally, when you know, we started Ternion, the goal was to get away from EDM and to get away from the way that that side of the industry does things, and to create an alternative. And when I say gatekeeping is good, what I mean is we've created an alternative here, and it needs to stay an alternative and not turn back into the thing that we're trying to get away from and avoid. And yeah, the other thing I said was that I would worry about this if and only if artists who come over and start making this style start getting booked for sets over artists who have been working in this style for a long time. And that is starting to happen already. And I'm not going to point fingers and name names, but if you're watching this, you know who you are, and it's really disappointing. So, everyone don't take it too personally, but yeah, I'm not down all of this stuff that is going on.
So, starting off pretty nuanced, kind of providing a little more context to the gatekeepers, at least the gatekeepers within the industry, who are actually not the fans, because I don't think the fans gatekeeping, it's a little bit less valid in my opinion, a little bit more annoying. Whereas, as you'll see as he further elaborates on these points, is that like these people have careers within the industry, their careers are legitimately affected by these sorts of things. So he kind of actually legitimizes gatekeeping a tiny bit. Let's continue.
Mean to say there,
part two,
is that there are people who have been making this style for years, who are doing a really good job at it, who are really talented producers, and who deserve a lot more bookings than they're getting. Three of my best friends, I'll name: Buka's Finest, Distinct
Legend.
Motive, Joe Nice.
Also legend.
The three of them, they get a decent amount of bookings, but they don't get anywhere near as much as they should.
Now, real quick, Buka's Finest, probably one of my favorite of all time deep dub artists, OG, huge. I didn't know the second guy he mentioned. Joe Nice is literally one of the, if not the first person to bring dubstep to America. One of the first and longest existing dubstep DJs out there. Huge OG.
And they should have recognition that is at least on par with us, if not higher, especially Joe, since he's, the first person who brought dubstep to the States in the first place, but doesn't get recognized because he doesn't produce.
Oh, he says it.
Which I think is bullshit. But anyways, yeah, I think that those guys should all be getting bookings over anyone who decides to just like on the side suddenly start making this sound because it's hot and because it's interesting, who hasn't put in any work over the years, and is just kind of copying something that exists already and isn't necessarily making any major contributions to the advancement of the sound or the culture.
So obviously some subtly heated takes towards whoever Grail Sounds is, implying they didn't put any of the work in to get to this place. They're just copying something that already exists, which I can agree with that. Like, it did just kind of really sound like Peekaboo. Like, if Peekaboo had released it, I wouldn't have even doubted that it was Peekaboo. If someone told me it was a new Peekaboo release, I'd be like, oh. And saying that he's not contributing anything new to the sound. Those 2 points I think are pretty valid. I think in terms of the work to get there, if it is, in fact, a bigger artist, and this is a secret alias, which I do know, I do know who it is, and I'm going to reveal who it is, but just speaking from the perspective if I didn't know who it was. Either way, that artist, I would assume, put in work to become a big artist. And one of the things, the benefits afforded to you once you're a big artist with lots of connections, is that you can do other things that you wouldn't have been able to do when you first started out. Like, one of my goals is like, I want to make a trance alias. Like, when I'm older, like, I want to make just progressive trance under a different name. I'm not going to start off trying to be a progressive trance artist. I'm going to start off doing the thing that I'm good at right now, that I'm passionate about right now, that I have a preconceived plan and goal for. And then once I'm big enough and have some free time and connections, then I can dabble in the other stuff that interests me that I maybe want to start a project in. I don't know. I don't think that should invalidate an artist because they didn't grind. Like, you're not allowed to be in a part of this genre and community because you didn't grind through it to become successful. You grinded through a different genre and community to become successful. So then you can just hop into ours and get a head start. And so I get the annoyance there and the jealousy and stuff. Like, yeah, you're just getting a head start because you're a big artist in another genre, although not completely different genre. But at the same time, I think it's like, what else are they supposed to do? You're just saying they're not allowed to make this music because they found success somewhere else. So you're not allowed to, unless you start off and just ignore all of the things that you've built for yourself that can make it easier to push it somewhere.
And yeah, I do think that the heads have a right to be suspect of this kind of thing happening, because it's not the first time that dubstep has been commercialized. And I've warned about this since the start of Ternion. I think that eventually this deep sound would become hot enough that it would generate interest from people who simply want to make what is hottest at the moment and kind of continue jumping from trend to trend to trend. And that's just not what we're about here.
He continues to say, further, please don't take these personally. They're not meant to further a divide. All I want is for people to think a little more critically and maybe come to a shared understanding. I'm not trying to exclude anyone. I do think he has like good intentions with all these posts, although it does kind of exclude and gatekeep a bit, but he's obviously trying to expand and provide some context and understanding for why people are mad, or at least why people like him are mad.
To be more specific, if you guys are watching, take this as you will, but I do think that, of course, Peter from DUPLOC mishandled that situation. I also think that the people from Deadbeats are mishandling it. I think everyone's shit flinging. And, I like y'all both. But I think that, the people at Deadbeats, the EDM side of things, y'all should understand that the heads in the underground, if you want to call it that, do have justified reason to be concerned about stuff like this. And all the heads, I would say just like maybe be a little more patient with these people, because they are good people. I think no one is doing any of this shit maliciously.
That's an important point.
Doing it in an evil way. I think a lot of people just don't really think. The old phrase is, don't attribute to malice what you can attribute to stupidity. And
see, but the thing is, he makes some good points and then he like follows it up with shit like that. It's like, I don't think they're doing it with malice or like to be evil, which I agree. I think if anything, it's someone who's passionate about deep dub, and it's just like misguided bad decision of marketing and stuff like that. But then he's like basically calling them fucking idiots and not thinking, rather than just like not being, like, a better way to put it is just not being educated because they didn't go through the issues that people like Jack have gone through. So of course they're not going to understand how this would make them look bad or how this would piss people off, because they haven't experienced the scene and the music the same way you have. This is just the same as like someone like me. I appreciate and love deep dub, but like through this controversy, I learned a lot about how the scene works and some deeper parts of the scene that I just had no idea, because from the outside I'm just like enjoying the music and think it's cool and I want to make the music myself. I didn't realize how, like, I don't know, there's all these deep-seated cultural issues and points about the deep dubstep like heads and whole community. That it's like, unless you're like truly deep, close-knit part of that whole culture and community, you're not gonna just even be aware of some of this stuff.
I think a lot of motherfuckers are really stupid. Not gonna lie. I mean, you guys obviously know that. I
see, it's like that just comes off really pretentious, and I just don't think, if you're trying to get your point across, I don't think that's the way to approach it.
I don't know. I think people just need to take stuff a little more seriously and think a little harder about the consequences of their actions, and maybe be a little bit more understanding of people on either side of the argument here.
Yeah, but see, that's the same applies to you, which he is for the most part. He's being understanding and reasonable, but then there's like moments like these, it's like, bruh, just, I don't know, and just comes off as pretentious and condescending.
But yeah, those are my thoughts. I am going to take the side here, of course, of like, yeah, I'm cool with it if you want to change it up, have a different project, make a different kind of music, but you have to adopt the values and the goals and the culture of the sound and the scene that you're appropriating. And if you don't do that, then you're appropriating in a negative way that's harmful.
And I think that's an important point. I think that's a pretty valid point, and he further elaborates on what that means, like what the culture and the things they stand for.
Say to the people too that these people that every time these conversations come up, they say, oh, it's all, why are you taking it so seriously? It's just music, all of this stuff. Why would you post this on Twitter? It doesn't matter. And I want to say that it really does fucking matter, actually, because what we're talking about here is determining who gets access and who gets material gains for their work. And whether people like it or not, this is not a very popular view, but we are all in direct competition with each other, and we are in a ruthless
This is a hot
industry.
take.
There's an extremely finite amount of time slots and venues and markets,
But it's got a lot of truth to it.
places to play, and there is a finite amount of attention and time and listening hours for fans, and all of those things account or turn into material wealth. They turn into money. It's how we get paid. And so how we determine who receives those limited resources is extremely important. I don't really think it's a joke, you guys. I think this stuff is really serious. And I think the people who tend to say it's a joke, usually you find they're the people who benefit the most from things remaining the same as they are now, because they don't have any problems and they don't have anything to worry about. And they would rather that everyone else just stops talking about it because they're afraid that their position is going to be threatened. The truth is maybe your position should be threatened. Maybe you don't deserve it. And if you're that nervous about it, that might be a sign.
That was ominous. But I don't know. The more he explains, there does seem to be a lot of validity. And like I said, when it comes to people like this, the gatekeeping is justified. Like he said, to an extent, because it affects literal livelihood. Like he said, there are limited amounts of spots to be booked, limited amounts of festivals, limited amounts of shows. It's a saturated market, limited amounts of shelf life for songs, for attention. So I don't know. It's just very, very interesting to hear all of his perspective on this.
Really want to hammer on the point that it's extremely naive to not believe that we're all in direct competition with each other. And this conversation applies to so many things. It applies to the ghost production thing. It even applies to the sync button shit a little bit. And it applies to, the use of samples. And really what people are getting at with all of this is, are you actually contributing enough to deserve what you're receiving? And, my good old boy, Karl Marx, has this great famous saying that says, to each according to his need, from each according to his ability. And I think that a lot of people, when they think socialism, they get focused on the to each according to his need, which means people will be provided for what they need by the system. You'll receive what you need. You'll receive the material wealth that you need to survive by the system. They don't focus enough on the from each according to his ability part. And that means that you need to do your fucking part and contribute. And I think the concern that a lot of people have is that some people aren't really contributing that much, and they also happen to be receiving a good amount of the really finite resources that are out there to be given to people. And I think a lot of people perceive this imbalance and they find it to be problematic. And I think that's a justified concern. And that's what this is all about.
And that's something I think I and a lot of you watching probably agree with. And this is beyond just deep dub. This is in every aspect of the music industry, in every single genre, but also more specifically within the other parts of dubstep. There's lots of artists who have all of the attention, all of the money, all of the connections, headline every festival. And the whole time, a lot of us are like, but what are they really contributing? This music doesn't seem to be doing much, or this, I don't know. It's just there's lots of this imbalance where we see the people really putting in work, really trying to contribute and move the culture forward. And then those people are being overlooked for people who have connections or money or have had previous success and have just been coasting on it for 10 years. So I don't know, definitely a relatable point.
And it's what almost everything I post about is about. And it's going to be what it's about ongoing for a very long time. I don't think this is something that's going to end anytime soon. So just something to think about, everyone. But yeah, there's my thoughts.
That's the unfortunate reality. Is that this is how the industry works. This is how capitalism works in general, which I think is why it's interesting he brought up socialism. Obviously, this is music, not politics, but there is a socioeconomic side of this, which is like the way a lot of this stuff works is because of how capitalism works and the sorts of values that this type of society instills in us.
I want to make a addendum here and just say that for the people out there that I think there's some people that just kind of lump everything together under the same umbrella genre-wise, and I could do a whole hour-long video on this and how, everyone develops a mental model of what a genre is based on their existing knowledge of what they've heard. Right. And some people, this particularly applies, I think, more to people on the EDM side of things.
Hey, that's me.
Where they think that, all of that stuff is still the same genre as, like your Mala DMZ stuff.
And that's also kind of me.
Which to me is entirely bizarre because it's like...
I think that's a lot of us. Like, we considered the deep dub side of things and the OG dub side of things still part of EDM and dubstep. But as he goes on to explain, I guess they don't consider that completely the same, or I don't know, it's like a counterculture almost.
You're really gonna fucking say that Excision and Mala make the same kind of music? Doesn't make any sense.
No, but it's the same general inspirations and umbrella.
I think one of the reasons for that
is what I think people think, at least.
People want to lay claim to the historical narrative, and be a part of the dubstep continuum because there's benefits to that.
I don't know. I don't think it's that deep.
The fact of the matter is, for a lot of people, the values and goals changed a long time ago. They don't want the same thing, and that's fine. The things that they want are fine for them. They work for them. I'm not going to argue in this video that they're unethical. I do believe that. But, assuming that everything is just subjective, that's fine. But there does need to be, I think, a clear split between the two sides. There's more than two sides, in my opinion. There's about 5 very clear, distinguishable subgenres that have very different cultures and values and goals. That's a whole nother conversation, though. But if you don't understand all of that, I think a lot of this stuff just isn't going to make any sense to you.
All right, 2 more. And then we move on to the big reveal. Who is Grail Sounds? Was this all warranted?
And I think just to give an example of one of the fundamental differences for me has been because as a lot of you guys know, I used to play rhythm, I used to play bro step, I used to play heavy stuff.
I didn't actually know that.
I liked a lot of poppy EDM and shit too. My ideology back then was I want to find the best music and what's best and what's the coolest and hottest, and I just want to make that. And I want to be as big as possible. That was the goal. It's to get as big as possible, find the best music possible, and be as popular as possible. That was the goal. And I think a lot of people on that side of things think that that's a valid and, well-intentioned goal.
And this is where I really wanted to pick his brain and talk to him about this, because I'm one of those people who thinks that's a valid and whatever goal. That's my goal is to find the coolest music, make cool music that inspires me and inspires others, and be as big as I can, and just contribute in my own way to the culture, move things forward, be able to get big enough to where I can provide opportunities to other people who I think deserve the opportunities. I don't know. I think that's well-intentioned. I don't understand. He does elaborate, but I just personally don't see the problem with that.
And I don't think they're malicious. I think that they just think that those things are all good. I used to think those things are good until a series of events changed my mind. But now the goals are different. I don't have those goals anymore. I don't want to find what music is the best anymore and try to recreate it or take different ideas and roll them all into my music.
I don't see the problem with that.
I'm more concerned about exploring new ideas, novel ideas.
There's no real new ideas anymore. It's
I'm
just
not concerned with being
regurgitated
popular
inspiration in different
anymore and
ways.
getting bigger. I think that that's fraught with problems on its face.
Now, I do understand that. If your goal is just being famous and popular and big, you can easily get led astray in terms of like your priorities. Like that, I understand. But I don't think it's impossible or wrong to still have goals of, like, my goal is to be famous and rich, not for the benefit of being famous and rich. Like, that's cool and all, whatever, but the main reason is so that when you're famous and rich, you can help more people. You can have lots of money to use to help change the world. You have lots of influence to use to help change the world. Like, look at Excision. He blew up, got big and famous. Say what you will about him, but he's given a lot of opportunities to smaller artists. He's built people's careers, you know? Now, whether you think those people are worthy of it or not, whatever, that's a whole different thing, but it's just like, yeah, you can blow up, be huge, and then you can throw a festival and then book everybody you want to book, like sudden death, you know?
And what I'm really concerned with is building more cohesive communities. And really, obviously, my main focus is fixing the economic contradictions that exist inside of the music industry.
Yeah, that's a very valiant
And
goal.
yeah, that's what I mean when I say cultural differences and differences in values and goals, because that's kind of two sides of the coin.
So again, very interesting topic of conversation and discussion. And I think this thread was the main reason I wanted to make this video.
I'm not saying that everyone on the EDM side of things just wants to be popular and big and just wants to take all the different kinds of music and roll it into one thing.
I guess that I'm one of those people.
Everyone in the underground has well-intentioned goals either. But I think if you do look on the whole and you look at averages and you talk to people and you ask them what it is they want, you know, where they see themselves in the future and what do they care about, I do think that you'll see differences in the two sides that parallel that. And I do also think another major difference is just the level of seriousness with which people take all of this stuff. I find that a lot of people on the EDM side of things are very much just about having fun and enjoying it, making music that sounds cool, right? Sounds cool and fun, and we're just about having a party and giving people a good time.
Well, it's more than that.
And I believe that they believe that that's a good thing.
It is to an extent. People need a release.
Personally, not gonna.
This is the other point where I'm like, I want to know more about why you think this, because I'm one of the people that thinks that. Like, now I want to make meaningful music. I want to make music that people can connect to and that unifies people. So it's beyond just a cool sounding song, but that's also a fun thing. And then there's also like raves and parties. Yeah, there's negative aspects of that, and that shouldn't be the sole priority and focus of just like partying, blah, blah, blah. But like, it brings people together. People can build entire friendships, entire families, meet loved ones. Like, it brings people together. It gives people a break from our harsh reality, you know? It gives people, it's like a form of escapism that I think can be healthy and beneficial and opens people's minds. And I don't know, it's just like the EDM scene has really sculpted who I am today. And that's just from enjoying cool music and going to raves and having cool experiences with other cool people. I don't know. It's just like, I don't really see I see how it can be negative when you have the wrong priorities and it gets taken too far. But I don't think at its heart, it's just an inherently wrong thing to value.
I'm gonna get into that argument in this video. It'd be too long. But you know, on my side of things, from my perspective now, things are a lot more serious than that, as I mentioned in previous videos. And I think taking a serious look at the economic structure, the political structure of the music scene and the economy, and taking a serious and critical look at the consequences of your actions and how what you do affects other things, and even stuff like cultural appropriation and representation in the industry and stuff like that. Being more serious, I think, is more of an underground attitude. So that's what I'm getting at, the differences between values.
All right, so that wraps up the Ternion Sound thread. Bit of a long thread. I hope it was interesting. I tried to cut it up a bit to make it faster. This is quite the long video, but your patience is about to be rewarded because now we finally learn the mystery of who is Grail Sounds. And it is Tisoki. And I think maybe Oliver's. But so first off, before we get into basically his story plus some explanation behind the side project, because unfortunately this drama became so big and toxic that now he has to kind of ruin the whole mysterious alias thing and reveal it because it just was unrelenting hate. I'm a big fan of Tisoki. I've been a big fan of Tisoki for years, since the 2015, 2016 Bro Step era. I just think he's always been a really good producer. He helped really pull me back into dubstep, and I think especially these days he's got an insane amount of versatility and is pretty underrated in the grand scheme of things. So those are my biases. Now let's get into this. Yep, I'm a part of Grail Sounds. Now, he says a part, meaning there is another person involved. I think it's Oliver's, but I don't know. Here's why I'm bringing the witch hunt to an end. 1, I've worked my way up from the bottom. I've been in this industry going on 12 years now, forward-facing and behind the scenes. But the amount of hate I've received has been insane and something I've never experienced before. A huge fuck you to Guilt Chip for attempting to hack my personal email and posting it publicly on Twitter. I'll elaborate on that in a second, but basically, I guess like Guilt Chip was like trying to expose Grail Sounds. So it was all in the heat of like, oh, we need to figure out who this anonymous person is and if they're really from the UK and shit. And so they like took it too far, I guess, trying to hack his email. But what he said about the amount of hate, it's like, yeah, it is a bit insane. Like, Jesus Christ. The dude dropped one song and people are treating it like he's just scum of the earth. Anyways, real smart move, mate. Especially when you're continually trying to start a career for yourself in music. How anyone could trust anything you do after this on a personal or business level is insane. I've also gotten physical threats of assault, forcing me to hire extra security for the first show we did in Denver, which is completely against my wishes for this project. Which also, to his credit, imagine playing a show when you're scared of getting your shit beat out of you, like with people threatening to go on stage and shit on the CDJs. Obviously that's most likely a joke, but like with all of this hate, I don't know if I'd be able to put on that good of a show. Like, when I'm like, imagine how much anxiety DJs have in the first place, and then you have the anxiety of I have a bunch of people who hate me and I'm playing a debut show after all of this hate. Anyways, which is completely against my wishes for this project. It wasn't meant to be some extra over-the-top bullshit thing. There's also been fake Reddit accounts made of myself and other artists to incite drama on some of these threads. I just wanted to throw on a balaclava and turn up to play some cool music. It's not that deep. 2. Gatekeeping is an important area too. I got a lot of points from the heads, which I totally understand. I also brought this up to Jack from Ternion Sound. My intentions for this were to actually try and provide some cool shows and opportunities for others too, but I haven't really had the chance as the project went live only a couple weeks ago, which is also to that other thread's points. Those threads pointed out that Tisoki hasn't really done much to bring other people up in the scene, except I would say Oliver's was a perfect example of him supporting smaller artists and helping them build their career. But Tisoki has also never been that like so big that he's had Tisoki has been successful, but he's never been like Zomboy level or like Excision or like someone where he really has the power to like build other people's careers and really put them on. So I don't know. Anyways, we've actually turned down a few shows at this point that didn't fit the vibe for where Grail Sounds is intended to go. I've also noticed a few people say this is a cash grab on my part, and believe me, if this was genuinely a cash grab, I would have chose a genre I could actually make money in. The witch hunt that ensued after announcing the first single makes me genuinely empathetic towards the community, because how much hatred do people need to have to make their sole purpose in life to just be ruthless cunts online? Mind-boggling, especially after I grew up in this scene. Now, to be fair, I get his frustration, but I think if you want the witch hunt to end, like more fuel to the fire isn't the best way to go about it. But that being said, yeah, the dude makes a good point, and it's kind of stupid that everyone called this a cash grab. They think just because Skrillex dropped an album with 3 deep dub songs, that deep dub is like about to pop off again and become like mainstream. I really don't think that's the case. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I've seen a lot of people talk about this. I don't think it's going to be the same as like Bro Step when he dropped Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. That's not going to take the whole world by scene. It's going to get a slight uptick in popularity and appeal because more people are exposed to it. But I don't think like, yeah, now it's like a cash grab where like, it's like, yeah, if he needed cash, he would go make Tech House. He'd go make fucking tech house or some shit. It's just like, anyways, I'm not American, and I love to reiterate that point because everyone on Reddit seems to think I am. I did in fact go to the illegal raves in London, underage, etc., blah blah. You've heard it all before. But one thing I do find funny is the vocal majority hating and attempting to save the purity of this has been from random US cities. Majority of love has been from people in the UK. Makes you think. And that was something I was pointing out, was like a lot of these people complaining were like pointing out American artists. They're going to shows in America, and it's Tisoki. Tisoki is from the UK. The amount of people who were just spreading this information, mainly because of DUPLOC, saying that it's a ghost producer for Deadbeats, and it's a guy who's not even from the UK, and it's all a sham, is ridiculous. And it's just kind of hilarious to see how fucking wrong they were. And there's not really any responses, not that they all have to respond, but it's just like, Jesus Christ, like such a small amount of information they were given. Granted, it was from, I guess, who was supposedly supposed to be a reputable source, that they just went full force to like assault threats over and had no fucking, it's just like insane, like how angry people get about shit that they don't even have the full scope of information about. 4. The whole ethos behind this project was to honor where I'm from and the artists I looked up to starting out. To think that I'm an industry plant, ghost produced, fake or anti-art. Thanks, Varien, you are so wrong. Speaking of, we will be covering what he's directly referencing in a second, because that's also insanely fucking ridiculous. Varien has been taking L's in all these dramas, spreading all sorts of weird misinformation, making me lose respect for Varien. Anyways, it's just dense when the scene and genre is what got me into music production in the first place. We had branding and social handles on lock in 2019. Grail Sounds was meant to be a sample pack company, which we decided to axe, and the upcoming singles finished at the end of September 2022. The footage for the promo video isn't AI, as someone was so determined. It was shot by the incredibly talented Antonello Zappa, as were the press photos with me, not Oliver's, in Stratford, London. So, again, DUPLOC spreading just completely bullshit information, according to Tisoki, that it was him actually in London shooting, which would make sense because he's from the UK. And the footage being accused of being AI is just really emblematic of like the future, because I've already seen it with people like in my Discord, for instance, like thinking certain things are AI that aren't AI, but then also I've thought things weren't AI that ended up being AI. So just kind of crazy how that's going to play into things in the future. 5. As mentioned in the Twitter post, the Balaclava Anonymous thing was just to keep this project completely faceless and separate from my Tisoki stuff. Not that I'm some massive well-known name, but more so on the chance of someone randomly clogging it. I haven't cross-leveraged any artist endorsements, i.e. people responding with love on Twitter / the Grist playout from this project, for the other either. Everything that has happened support-wise has happened organically, which honestly is super cool for me to see. And that's a very interesting point. If that's true, I don't know why he would lie about it. I hope he wouldn't lie about it, but it's like, if that's the case, then yeah, it's like kind of just disproves a lot of these like weird conspiracy theories that everyone's like in cahoots to support this cash grab. 6. I intend on continuing this project regardless of all these setbacks, and will continue to keep it absolutely separate from all things Tisoki. This actually being the only time it's cross-referenced. I was excited to start it after seeing some of my peers start new anonymous projects themselves and have them flourish into their own thing. I really hope to grow it into something cool and continue putting out tunes plus playing shows in a different capacity supporting songs and artists that got me inspired to even begin making music in the first place. And then I would like to point out, he promotes some underground artists in this post, just to kind of, I guess, pound home the point that he's not trying to like steal or like, I don't know, not give any respect to like the real OGs and heads in the scene and all that stuff. Continuing with the guilt chip stuff, he ghosted my calls and proceeded to tweet, "I'm not sorry," after crying to me over text message. "I don't know about all this speaking behind people's back shit. You wouldn't even talk to me man to man. I pity anyone who works professionally with you." Basically, I'm not going to go too into the guilt chip stuff. It's just kind of extra drama. Basically, guilt chip posted Soki's personal email after hacking a Gmail account. And I don't know, it's just like a mess. Like, you can look into this more if you want. Basically, just guilt chip went unhinged with like attacking Soki and, well, Grail Sounds. So then let's see Reddit's response to this. Redlock. Again, it's devolving into insults and name calling again. Please behave, guys. Poor mods. Poor freaking mods. That sucks. Okay, so let me get this straight. You were supposedly from England, at some point moved to the States, become a brostep artist. Some while later, you try and start a new anonymous dubstep project with marketing that exploits all the crude-ass stereotypes of authentic UK dubstep, being incognito, like burial stories of a poor urban background going to underground raves, decks on the kitchen table, blah blah. The lead single of said project, backed by a North American EDM label, not anything authentic to UK dubstep. Sounds like surprise, surprise, surprise. North American EDM, not UK dubstep. Social media kicks up a storm, so you go public with a tweet saying people should stop harassing you and you're not actually ghostwritten or fake. Your project is legit because reasons? I don't condone the harassment, but none of this absolves him from this entire project being a cash grab to try to profit off of authenticity stereotypes and that original UK sound, while the music fails to sound anything like real dubstep, which is insane. It's like they didn't even read the fucking post. Jesus Christ. There's a few minor points that I think are valid in this, but like, yeah, there's touring artists who still work part-time jobs because they can't make enough from being a supporter. A cash grab or cashing in means doing something insincere with the sole motivation of profit and no creative integrity. You don't have to be successful for cashing it in. That doesn't make any sense, because why would you cash it in? Anyways, this just evolves into obviously more arguments. Then we still have more issues from the original DUPLOC post, from people saying, why on earth would you ever admit to pretending to be a former poor person for clout? Like, good for him that his conscience is clean, but dude just shot his career in the knee a little bit. And then more people had to let him know that Soki literally comes from a working class London background. And so then the guy adds in an edit basically saying like, okay, it's Deadbeats just like badly marketing this. And that's what I think we could probably all agree on, is just the way this was originally marketed really shot him in the foot. So to wrap things off, let's cover this Varien post where and this is before Soki came out about it, but he came out about it because of this post in large part. Varien was talking about Not Low and says, this goes for Soki's Grail Sounds project too. Most artists know this is all fake, astroturf, lame, and anti-art. However, these same artists are under the impression that if they don't upset their homies, they'll be rewarded with bookings, label signings. So basically, this is coming from Varien going off about all the people supporting Not Low, and it's how it's all a big conspiracy theory. And there's probably some truth to it in terms of like, you don't want to like upset the label and the blah, 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 because, you know, if your homie is a bigger artist and goes on tour, they might want to bring you, so you don't want to like shit on them, blah, blah, blah. There's some truth to that. But Varien adds a lot of fucking random assumptions into here. I'm lost. What's going on? Today, I'm airing grievances with a new wave of artists that are branded as new, but are getting major label support and international tour dates with 0 to 1 tunes. Soki's new project, Grail Sounds, is one of them. I also retweeted an instance of someone from the same group of artists directly copying a sample pack demo and calling it original multiple times. Okay, this is what it's called. This is what I'm talking about. It's like, okay, so what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to just restart and not use any of the things they built up? Like, I just don't get, like, it's just, this is how aliases work. I didn't think this was such a like wrong thing for artists to want to make an alias. And then the fact it's not, I don't know. It's just like, it's not the same as an industry plant when it's just a big artist making an alias. Must Die responds to that, says, I don't see what your issue with Tisoki is. It's still Tisoki. So he deserves the respect and opportunity that comes with that, which I agree. Secret aliases are cool. He's a fantastic producer and I don't understand the need to talk shit for trying something new. Varien says, it's not me versus Tisoki at all. He's a very talented producer. Save what I think about Grail Sounds, because I do agree, like, Tisoki's a more talented producer than the song that was released. That's my opinion. What I and others have been airing grievances about is the state of label favoritism and a new wave of nepotism that demoralizes real, smaller acts who likely will never get paid for their releases versus acts who can sort of speed run it with money. It does not apply to Tisoki as he has put the work in, but it does to other recent mystery artists. I'm just trying to be egalitarian here, Lee. Come on, you feel me. And Must-I says, after explanation, I see your perspective and where you're coming from and know where your values lie. Carry on. It's cool that Base Mom and Base Dad have found a happy resolution, but the way Varien approached this, it's just like very, I don't know, like, this is true. There is a state of label favoritism and new wave of nepotism, but it's just like the blatant attacks. I guess I don't understand what the backlash of this Grail Sound thing is. I've never seen a project this new get so much hate. For me, it's a bit hot key. Imagine developing a whole brand around we are real dubstep OGs from Bristol in it, and we was spinning dub plates in the kitchen, fam. When it's an already established producer and the debut track has nothing close to the old school, in fact, uses a very modern Ternion Sound sample. Too try hard, throwing the mask element, and a lot of fans really ain't loving it. Just my 2 cents. It's like, you're still, yeah, you agreed, blah, 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 but it's like, you're still kind of just throwing shade over stupid stuff. Tisoki says, Bristol is the complete opposite side of the country, haha. If you're gonna make up bullshit claims and go on some British accent shaming tirade, at least have the geography to back you up. So it's kind of become petty at this point. There was a lot of good points made by Jack of Ternion Sound. Tisoki said his piece, and I thought that was valid. There were some points made here and there, mixed in with just a lot of toxicity and like just kind of ridiculous vitriolic attacks. This is the main thing I'd say would sum it up. Reefin says, the only problem I had with Grail Sounds was the rumor it was ghost produced, but now that I know it's a Tisoki side project, I'm absolutely all for it. Tisoki has been in the dubstep scene for many years, and him using his popularity to bring more attention to UK 140 is good. And you know what? I can agree with that. I think that's a very simple way to sum this all up, kind of give my opinion on it, and hopefully end on a more positive note. Although there are problems with how this was marketed, and there are problems with nepotism and label favoritism and shit like that. There are problems with gatekeeping. There are also problems that weren't gatekeeping, like Jack said. I think there's a lot of nuance to this whole conversation. And I think the main point to take from this is that stop fucking taking shit so seriously to the point where you're threatening people with violence and where you're just completely shitting all over someone and making their life hell. You can see how angry Tisoki seems in this. Like, this is kind of a stupid point or a petty point, but he's obviously pissed off because he's been getting, for like a week or two, was just getting tons of hate. And there's gonna be so many people who didn't see the resolution to this, who don't see my current video, and are gonna continue to give him hate and shit on his whole alias project, where it obviously, at least based on his explanation, was just something he's passionate about. He was really inspired by those artists, by this type of music, and he did grow up in that area in the UK, and so he just wanted to do something to honor that and to try out something different. So I don't know. I'm curious to know what your opinions were. I hope this wasn't too long. It was extremely long. But I thought it was a really interesting topic, a really interesting drama. It does kind of scope a lot of real issues or real interesting topics of discussion around this whole community and scene. But at the end of the day, it's fucking dubstep politics, man. And I don't know, that's just kind of stupid. I think we should try to change how the industry works in a lot of ways and provide more non-established artists with opportunities. But at the same time, doesn't mean we should just burn other artists who just wanted to try something new down at the stake for things that they're not really the cause of. They're just unknowingly participating in, you know? Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have a great rest of your day, humans. And hopefully I won't see you again for another EDM Twitter recap, because I don't want to do these very often. But sometimes something interesting comes across my table and I decide, you know what, worth making a video on. So yeah, have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.